All right, so let's bring it back. So to emphasize the importance of the dialogue and the value of community involvement, we've asked the police chiefs and the sheriff, well, I guess the sheriff's not here, she wasn't able to make it tonight, but we've asked the police chiefs to respond to questions of commitment about partnership with PACT, our beloved community team, and with other community organizations in their own cities. And so with that, I want to turn it over to some of our PACT leaders. We have Pastor Jennifer Goto, Peter Ortiz, Sheila Dawkins, and Jean Barron, who will be asking those questions of commitment to the various chiefs.
I'm Pastor Jennifer Goto from St. Paul's United Methodist Church in downtown San Jose. And we want to start with reporting what we have learned before tonight about actions and policies that are happening in these different police departments throughout our county. These are things that they are already doing and providing leadership on to build community trust for safety and justice. Body-worn cameras are being worn and used in Los Altos, Los Gatos, and Mount Sereno, Morgan Hill, Mountain View, San Jose, Gilroy, and Campbell. They may be in other places, but these are the departments that told us that this is one of their practices that they are doing in order to lift transparency and accountability. The principled policing and procedural justice training that Pastor Jason was talking about earlier and that we dialogued about, that is being done in Mountain View, Los Altos, San Jose, the California Highway Patrol, and Campbell is now implementing it throughout their force. Having an outside of the system eye for transparency and accountability is rare in our county. The San Jose Police Department works with the independent police auditor in San Jose. And the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors is right now developing a form of transparency and accountability and outside oversight model for the Sheriff's Department. However, the other departments do not have this system in place. Crisis intervention training is happening in Campbell, Gilroy, and Los Altos, as well as in San Jose. And many departments are training in de-escalation so that use of force happens less. There are trainings happening in San Jose and Los Altos, and in Morgan Hill, they have a force options simulator to reinforce the de-escalation training that they are doing with their officers. Many departments go out of their way for positive interactions, especially with youth in their communities, such as coffee with a cop, or sports leagues, or having mentors in the schools. We hope that all of these things will continue, and we have some questions for you about what you will be able to commit to moving into the future as well.
Now, we will ask the chiefs and sheriff questions of commitment to provide leadership for continuous improvement. We shared the questions with the chiefs and the sheriffs in advance, so there are no surprises. You will each have a minute to respond to the first question. We have our timekeepers right here. All right. What are one or two takeaways you gathered from listening to community members tonight that relate to your role in your community? What will you implement in your police department as a result?
Thank you. No, I'm Gilroy PD, Scott Smithy. And I always enjoy talking to groups of people, and I think that we share more than we realize until we sit down and actually start having these conversations. And one of the things that we were discussing is making our communities better is not a police role alone. It takes all of us working together. And so one of the things that I've been really focused on is that community engagement, that outreach, that getting more and more people involved in these processes. And so we're going to double that down and keep that moving forward to get help from our community members to solve the issues in our communities rather than trying to do it all through the police department.
My name's Andy Galea. I'm the police chief in Los Altos. Very similar to Gilroy. I think tonight is reinforced really what critical parts we are in the community, how much influence we have in the community, how in each and every interaction can influence positive and negative contacts. And I think we need to look for opportunities, take advantage of opportunities, and continue our dialogue and communication throughout the community.
Good evening, I'm David Swing from the Morgan Hill Police Department. We had a great conversation over there in Group 5, and one of the things that I really was struck by was the progress that we've made. Everyone in our group talked about how much progress we've made either in San Jose or other agencies, and how that progress helps to inform our officers and our communities. Yet, yes, there's more work to do. We always have more work to do, as Chief Garcia said earlier, but we've made some great progress. And the role of police in partnering with the community to strengthen those relationships and continue to work on that. And as the Chief of Morgan Hill, I certainly will double down on those efforts and continue to commit to engage with our community to build mutual support and respect between law enforcement and all of our community stakeholders.
Good evening. I'm Armando Corpus. I'm the chief in Milpitas. And so what I've learned through the interactions tonight and through many other interactions I've had is that we in law enforcement and members of the community want the same thing. We want good relationships, we want trust, we want support for one another. And I believe that's a good way, those are good points for us to build a strong foundation moving forward. In Milpitas, we have a lot of community support. We work well with the community. A lot of that comes through engagements like this. What I believe is really important, and I'm saying it tonight, is that we have honest conversations like this without the distraction of something bad happening. Because often when we are called or our officers are called to a scene, it's because somebody's in crisis or somebody's a victim of a crime. We don't have that here tonight where we can have an honest conversation without that distraction. So I'm someone that's never satisfied. We always want to continue building and we want to continue doing things forward and better. And so one of those things will be to have better community engagements beyond tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Max Bozell, the Chief with Mountain View Police Department. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you this evening. Eddie, for your leadership in bringing us here together. I'm most struck by the fact that we are aware we're in a people business, but the impact of the jobs that officers do really impact people not just in Mountain View, but across the United States. I was happy to hear there were positive stories, not just negative stories, and the commitment I'm walking away with is reinvigorating our effort to reach out and continuing to reach out to have these dialogues. I think this is a real effective way to bridge an understanding and work better together. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mike Sellers. I'm the Chief for City of Santa Clara, Group 12. There we go. Thank you. You know, I was just really impressed with our group and the amount of sharing and the passion to make things right and build relationships and trust. You know, I really think the keystone to transparency and, you know, just trust is just engagement with the community. And I think events like this, when there's not a crisis going on, we're able to really just talk about issues is so, so important. And in our particular city, we do a lot of community engagement, but I really enjoy this type of environment where there's a lot of people here that are willing to talk to us so that we can resolve issues. My commitment is to continue to reach out to our communities even more so and be more involved. So again, thank you for sharing and thank you for this evening. Appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Cito Ortiz. I'm representing the California Highway Patrol station out of the San Jose office. Had some great discussions with Table 14. I want to thank you and compliment you for your ideas. Some of the things I took away, first of all, is transparency. We talked about the value of having body-worn cameras dash cam footage. But the thing that I'm going to take away the most, I think, was the last discussion we had, and that was this, is about more ideas for community involvement, whether it's the COPS program. Someone mentioned pancake with a cop. I had never heard that before, but I like pancakes. So I'm taking that back. We're going to have something similar to that. Yeah, I see you there. And that's a great idea, right? These are the kind of things we need, and I thank you for that, and we're going to do whatever we can to take it to another level as far as community involvement. That's the number one thing I'm taking away from tonight, is the need to have more programs for community involvement. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Eddie Garcia, San Jose. One thing that our group talked about in the group 10, I mean, we heard the painful stories of the perceptions of police. We had some positive stories, but the one thing that I was very touched by with our group was, in the last conversation, was their concern for the mental well-being of our officers. And understanding, and we talked about the issues with regards to officer-involved shootings and serious incidents that happen where we do have interaction with counselors for our officers. But what came out of that was something profound when it was, well, you guys do that stuff all the time. What you guys think is routine isn't routine. What can you do on a normal basis so that your officers don't always have to ask for help or you see certain signs? It should be something that just kind of happens. Well, my actionable item is, I'm taking that back. And I'm going to try to find some ways where we can have some routine conversations with some people that can come into our briefings and talk to our officers even when they don't think they need it. And so that's something that I really took away from our group, and I was proud of that. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Fawn No. I'm the chief of Sunnyvale Department of Public Safety. And it's not something that I learned today, but it's something that really reinforced what I always believed in, that it's a good thing to have difficult conversations. I got to tell you, in my group, when I looked to my left and I saw 4 family members with their white flowers, I said, uh-oh, this is going to be difficult tonight. And I got to tell you, it was a little bit awkward when we started the discussion, but by the end of the conversation, it was a very, very productive conversation. I thought they had a lot of really good, positive things to say, and I think this is something that's good for all communities and all of the agencies here. And I hope to see this as a regular thing as opposed to a one-off, because it's just going to make all of us better. So difficult conversations are really good. People, at the end of the day, we all have the same core values. We really do. It's just sometimes we just have a disagreement of how we're going to get to the goal line. That's it. And the more we get together, the more we talk about these issues, I think we're going to get to the same goal line at the same time. So thank you very much for having me here.
Hello, I'm Sheila, one of the PACT leaders here. And for our next question, we will first ask you to respond simply with a yes or no answer. Then after each person has a response, each of you has 1 minute to share a little bit more. So the next question is, will you commit or recommit to implementing principled policing and procedural justice training for all your officers and command staff with an emphasis on using community trainers for Module 4?
Do a thumbs up. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Yes.
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 Yes, and C.
Yes.
I hate yes or no answer, but I'll say yes this time.